Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So here's the deal. Land Park Criterium is this weekend, and unfortunately, I won't be able to make it, which is too bad. I have a score to settle with that race, especially the last corner of that race. This happened last time I went through that final corner. Also my collarbone, if you guys remember that video. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it due to some prior engagements. EJ won't be able to make it either. He is out of town, but here's the deal. Young, rising talent. My teammate Sean is going. We gave him a GoPro, and he's probably out there racing as we speak, out in the rain. Best of luck, Sean. And by the time you're watching this, we have race footage, so let's just dive right into it.
Feeling good. We got a strong team out today. I'm very confident in our guys. We got what, 8 guys out today, Max? 8 men out, yep.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. With me, teammate and superstar Sean Strachan. Good to have you, buddy.
Thanks for having me, Jeff. I'm stoked to be here.
Yeah, dude. It's about time you're on the channel. You've certainly been on these videos enough. I mean, you've won Merced. You were a huge part of Ryan's success in Cherry Pie. If you guys missed those videos, check them out. It's going to be an awesome year, dude. I'm so excited to race with you. I have some big races coming up, but today we're talking about Land Park. This one is very significant to me. I was unfortunately not able to join. This is Sean's footage, but this is the race where I broke my collarbone last year. Tell me about the race. What was your feeling? Have you raced this one before, Sean?
Yeah, this is probably the crit course that I've raced the most in my life. I remember last year doing like 3 or 4 races, juniors, Cat 3s, and like the Pro 1-2s. So I'm very comfortable on this course. It was raining out the whole day. It was really cold. The course was soaking wet, and there was a lot of road spray. So it was kind of hard to stay in drafts because you're just eating a face full of road spray. There was also some pretty other significant teams out there.
Yeah, let's talk about those really fast. I'm glad you brought that up. We had Volet, full squad Volet riders. Tayroon, you guys know them in the pink jerseys. Performance Bike had a strong contingency and a bunch of strong solo riders. And then, of course, us on Team Mike's Bikes. There were 7 of us. Is that right?
Yeah, we were supposed to have 8, but Dylan got COVID, I think the day before, so he stayed home.
So we definitely had a plan coming in. You want to tell them about the plan, Sean?
Yeah, with our numbers, our plan was to let a break of about 3 or 4 guys get off the front and then control the race and catch that break with about 3 or 4 laps to go and then do a lead out for me as the protected sprinter.
Yeah, here's the way it works on Team Mike's Bikes and bike racing in general is if you've had success, then the right thing to do as a team is to continue to nurture that success. And like I said, in I think one of the most recent videos was in bike racing, you're only as good as your last result. And Sean, you have been absolutely killing it. So we are obviously really happy to hold things together. We have the numbers for a field sprint, for a lead out. And you also blasted right through some really important points there, which is like letting a break go is a strange thing, I think, for a lot of people to think about. But we had 7 riders, 7 strong riders who were okay with the right composition getting away. I think that's an important detail because we didn't want any Volet riders. We didn't want Tayroon riders up there because that would have made things difficult to control at the end. So in the break, there were I think there originally were 5 riders in the original break, a bit more than we wanted.
Yeah, for sure. I think 5 guys got up the road, and then I think 2 of them ended up dropping back.
So that left a Thirsty Bear, San Jose, and Alto Velo rider, namely not Tayroon or Volet like I talked about. But one thing happened. We're going to talk about that as we get into the footage here. And we actually brought it back a little bit too early, and things got a little bit complicated there for a moment. Let's actually just let's fast forward here to I think about the final 10 or 12 kilometers to go and see how it unfolds. Okay, but first a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Native Deodorants. You guys may remember I had a campaign with the stick version of their deodorant a few months back. Well, that campaign went so well and you guys liked it so much that Native has returned, but this time with their brand new product category, which is a body spray deodorant. It's a new way to enjoy Native's new fantastic lineup of scents that doesn't leave stains on your clothes, uses a natural propellant. This one happens to be my favorite. This is sea salt and cedar. This is my go-to product after you come back from a ride, don't have time for a shower. Hopefully you're on your way to a podium. Give yourself a quick spray with this. It applies as light as air, leaves you smelling great, feeling fresh. And the good news is 20% off to my fans if you use the link in the description and my code, which I'll put on the screen right now, for your first purchase over at Native. This offer is available site-wide, but only for a limited time, so stock up and save. And don't forget to use the code and the link in the description. And with that said, back to the race. All right, as promised, here we are at the end of this race. We're 13 kilometers to go. I think we're just going to take it in from here because it was a really dynamic finish, Sean.
Yeah, for sure.
What is going on with you right now? I see you're spending some energy. What's the goal here?
Well, right now we have all of the Mike's guys except for me on the front chasing back the break. And as the protected sprinter, I'm sort of just sitting in the field conserving my energy for the last couple of laps.
And now it's time to move up, right? We're inside of 13 kilometers to go. You see all of your teammates are up there, even though we're still, 7 laps to go. Time to move up and be part of the train just to make sure that you're going to be taking good lines. If you're behind teammates and it's single file like this, it's probably a good idea to be behind your teammates, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, the draft might not be as good, like up at the front when it's strung out, but you'll definitely be able to take choice lines through the corners. And as you like to say, slow is smooth and smooth is fast.
Yeah, thank you. Took the words out of my mouth, man. So here you pass the Tehran riders on your left. They're also getting organized, lining up. But control of the race is in the hands of the boys in purple here, our teammates on Mike's bikes. And you can see we're all up here. There's some black jerseys up there. Those are just vests and jackets and things because it is cold and rainy out there. And that's another reason to stay up towards the front, right? Because the draft isn't as good. It's harder to hold a really tight line through the corners. So you really want to make sure that you're not caught behind any crashes or splits or anything like that. And there are roles here. Right, Sean, like we're still chasing back the break, but like the speed and who's doing the chasing, like walk us through that a little bit. Can you do that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think it was Chris, Roman, and Jackson up at the front, like doing most of the pacing. And then in the back four, I think was Max, me, Ryan, and RJ. And that was sort of like our train for the sprint. So yeah, Roman, Chris, and Jackson were setting a pretty intense pace at the front to try and get that break back.
Yeah, so the pace, so let's talk about that. So the front few guys, like you mentioned, are not really the fast twitch sprinty boys. So they're more of the time trial style riders. And if you're trying to structure a train like this, two things are happening. We're saving energy for our sprinters, namely Sean at the back here. We're also, the front guys are all rotating and chasing back. Still the breakaway. Let's not forget there's still a breakaway of 3 off the front. And the pace at which they're chasing that back is incredibly important. Like we talked about, you don't want to catch it too early. And then for obvious reasons, you don't want to catch it too late because you lose the race. So the timing and the speed is really important. And then also who is where in the lineup is important. You don't want sprinters, part of the rotation, wasting energy. So like I said, the time trial style riders are on the front rotating, sharing that load. And then the sprinty boys are towards the back, protecting mostly Sean so you can get the easiest ride as possible. And I could tell during this, Sean, you're getting crowded a little bit. You can see the Tehran rider on the right here. 5 laps to go. Were you getting nervous in this moment?
A little bit, mainly just more nervous about other lead out trains trying to overtake us in the end. But I think a main reason that I was getting swarmed is people weren't able to take corners as fast as they're used to because of the weather.
Yeah. And the reason, I mean, if this were like 2 laps to go, 1 lap to go, I feel like we would be going much faster to prevent this overlapping and this swarming from happening. But because we're gauging our effort on the front in order to not catch the breakaway too early and be kind of stranded in an uncomfortable situation, it's not particularly fast. 26 miles an hour isn't slow, but also that allows these riders from these other teams to kind of come up alongside of you. And this is where I think a lot of people think it's just always an armchair ride for the sprinter to be at the back. And under perfect circumstances it is, but like we're seeing here, it's not always super easy. You still have to sharpen your elbows a little bit and just make sure you're remaining in contact with your teammates, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, everyone wants the Mike Spike's last wheel here, and you can actually see I get kind of overtaken in this corner. But I am able to like weasel my way back up there to Ryan's wheel like pretty much in no time, which I think it's an important skill to have, is to be able, even if you get knocked off the wheels, to be able to get back to it.
Yeah, I like that you didn't stress. I feel like a lot of people would like hit the panic button right there and like do something that was either a little bit dangerous or unnecessary. But look, we're still, I think, 4.5 laps to go. Like, it's not time to freak out, stress, and use too much energy. You didn't need to spike up the power too much. You very easily got back onto the wheel there. Just kind of came underneath those riders, and we're still kind of dealing with this dual lead out right here, which is fine. You're getting bumped a little bit there on the right, it looks like. And this is something I think you're going to deal with now. But as we progress in this race and we get to like 1-2 laps to go, the speed's going to pick up and hopefully it'll be less of an issue. I have not seen any of those riders from the original break getting caught just yet. I may have missed it, but I think that the chase is still on. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
So we still have the full squad, right? I think there's 6 riders in front of you. Is it the entire squad still in this race?
I believe so, yeah.
So nobody's sitting in, right? Everyone has a role on Team Mike's Bikes. That's the one thing we're really good at as a team, is like everyone has a role. And I talked about this in the last video. That is, at any moment in a race, you should be asking yourself, what am I doing and why am I doing it? And, you know, Sean asks himself that question right now. I'm the sprinter. I'm saving my energy for 200 meters to go. If you're one of the front riders, by the way, there's one of the breakaway riders on the left that just got brought back, Alto Velo rider. If you're one of the riders in the front of Team Mike's Bikes who's not going to be leading it out or sprinting, if you're asking yourself that same question, what am I doing and why am I doing it? That is, I am setting a pace where we're going to bring back the breakaway, and we're not going to do it too soon or too late. And also, I'm not going to be surging because I want to give my sprinters as much of a free ride, a smooth ride as possible. Sean already said it once: slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So that's the mentality on Mike's Bikes. I think that's one of the reasons why we find success. Yeah, a part of the equation is like we have strong dudes, the training is good, we have the right equipment, all those things. But I think a big part of it too is like we just race together so well as a team. And this isn't something we go out and practice, right, Sean? I mean, you're a new guy to this team. Do we go out and practice this lead out?
No, we do not. I hardly ever see any of these guys unless we're actually at a race too. So
That's right, but it just comes together because good racing fundamentals are they're just that. They're good racing fundamentals. I think maybe there's a misconception, like they think we go out and we practice all this stuff on our training days. We don't. We show up on race day, we know what it takes to win, and we all have our roles. We understand our roles, and we're willing to sacrifice our own personal chances in order for team success. And that's something that a lot of other teams don't do. Again, some more swarming here, Sean. You're doing a good job, though, navigating this. Did you still, I mean, heart rate is very under control because should we spoil them with a little bit? Your heart rate goes up to like 210 beats per minute. Is that right?
yeah, I think my max is like 215.
That's insane. So you're very controlled right now. If I saw 181 beats per minute, 182 beats per minute, personally, I would be like, oh my God, hopefully this is the last 10 meters of the race because that's about as high as she goes. But have we caught the rest of the break? I don't think we have just yet, or was I talking through it? Do you remember, Sean?
I think there's still 2 guys off the front.
But an interesting thing is happening now because I think we're catching it a bit too early, right? Like we talked about this ideal situation where they're caught with like 3-4 laps to go and then we're able to still execute a really fast lead out. But I feel like the break kind of fell apart. You saw the one rider get caught, and now there's only 2 more. And yeah, they're riding strong for sure. But you don't want to prematurely catch the breakaway because then all of your riders are stuck on front, and it's a very calculated timing on when you bring it back, right? Like walk us through why that's important, Sean.
Well, if you bring the brake back too early, then all your guys have just chased down that brake and they're all gassed and won't be able to provide you with the lead out that's as fast as possible. And if you catch it too late, I mean, it's kind of simple. You just end up losing the race. So it is a very precise like calculation you have to make of like, when do we want to catch the brake if it can't be too early and it can't be too late?
Exactly. And those riders were actually like, they were going, I think, faster maybe than you guys anticipated. So there's another factor here too, which is you don't want to catch it too soon because, you know, you spent 3-4 of your riders rotating hard to bring it back. Let's not forget, like, it's hard to go 30 miles an hour for an extended period of time. So you don't want to be stuck with, 3, 4, 5 laps to go with only 2 lead out guys. That's not a good situation. You want to have control of the race. And as I say that, we have officially brought back the breakaway. and you can tell people are getting a little antsy now because the race is all back together. Most of this race there was a breakaway off the front. Now finally it's all back together. Ryan bumping this performance rider off of the lead out because everything is everything is focused on protecting Sean, and Ryan just wanted to make sure that that you were not going to be crowded by that performance bike rider. But we're brought back together too soon, you think, Sean?
I think a little bit too soon. We brought him back maybe a lap and a half too soon, which, like, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't sound like a lot. But when you've been controlling the race for so long and chasing, and you burn through most of your guys, like an extra like lap and a half for only three guys, four guys maybe in a lead out is huge.
Yeah, and we're gonna see if there's any consequences of that coming back too soon, because I think it might be hard from this point. Because in an ideal lead out, you're not just keeping the same pace. See, we're going 29 miles an hour right now, but each lap you want to start to slowly increase the speed. Notice I say slowly, right? Because consistency is efficiency, especially in the final few laps of a crit. You want to slowly ramp up the speed in order to propel your sprinter into the final 200 meters at the highest rate of speed possible, but also to deter people from counterattacking, from crowding you, from doing all of those things that makes the sprint that much more difficult. So that's why it gets difficult here when we've prematurely caught the breakaway, because it's going to be hard with a few tired riders at the front from chasing, only a couple more who are actually fresh, in order to increase the speed from this point on. Because now we're inside of 5 kilometers to go, which doesn't seem like much, but if you want to slowly increase the speed each lap, you're going to burn through riders real fast. And so far there's control, but you can see we're getting these other trains. It looks like Volet on the left is starting to contest a little bit, and this is the result of only going 27 miles an hour, where in a bigger race, or a race that is more controlled with bigger teams, would be up closer to 30, 31, 32 miles an hour even. How are you feeling in this moment? Were you worried about these riders kind of swarming a little bit on the left?
A little bit, but I knew we still had a good bit of racing left, and you can see my heart rate's under control, so I wasn't like super freaking out. I really have a lot of trust in Ryan, and I trust that he's going to get me to where I need to be in those last 200 meters. So I wasn't really too worried about it.
It's the Crit Dream Team, dude. I wish I was there with you guys. It was you guys remember from Merced? It was Ryan, Sean, and myself, and that was so much fun. And we're gonna do some awesome things, I think, with Sean and Ryan and myself, hopefully in the crit scene here in NorCal. When we have the full squad, we're able to do stuff like this, right? You guys noticed in Merced it was a lot different of a race, right? We with only 3 of us, the dynamic of racing is a lot different. We can't control the front for the final 12 kilometers of a race with only 3 people, and that's something to keep in mind too. If you guys are new to racing, if you're thinking about how does this work with teammates, well, it looks just like this. With only 2 teammates, the racing's completely different than with 6 teammates, right, Sean?
Yeah, for sure. You can see I got pushed off that inside line by I think that's Alex from down in Monterey, uh, old teammate of mine on Team Swift. But yeah, for sure. I think having more numbers presents a lot more options, and I think we're able
To control the front of the race pretty easily. But now, I mean, we've been talking a lot here, and the laps have been ticking down. I want to look at the lap counter now. Let's see. That was 3 laps to go, I believe. And oh boy, Volet on the left, looking serious with their lead out. And this is the reason why catching that break a bit too early may have been a problem, because you have all these other riders from other teams, other full teams, right? We talked about Volet earlier on. A full team of riders who weren't chasing it back, right? The responsibility was on Mike's bikes to bring back the breakaway. So now it's like, I think the concern that I would have, I'm not sure exactly how this shakes out, is Volet might be able to overtake the Mike's lead out and control the race at the most important consequential moment, the final few laps. But it looks like that wasn't the case. You guys remain control in the front, but instead of control, like, Ryan just takes the front. What's going on here?
Yeah, Ryan took over control of the front, and at this point, I'm thinking, uh-oh. I knew we still had, I think, about 2.5 laps to maybe a lap and a half to go. And second wheel with that much time left is really not where I wanted to be. I thought we had a lot more guys left. I think Max ended up slotting in behind my wheel. But those guys had been doing a great job controlling the race the whole day and chasing back that break. So they were all pretty gassed. But I knew, like I said, I have a ton of trust in Ryan. He's a great rider, and I know he's going to get me where I need to be. So I am thinking, uh-oh, but I know that Ryan is capable of delivering me still with 200 meters to go.
Yeah. Oh, I have a bunch of thoughts about this. First of all, that was really interesting. Like Volet contested on the left, and then all your teammates were like, no, 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 we got to stay in front of this. But I feel like all of them all just kind of like chased and got in front of Volet, and then all pulled off for a second. And Ryan was like, well, I just need to keep it fast, right? And like you said, Ryan is such a skilled bike racer, because the concern here is it needs to stay fast. We talked about that already. And what cannot happen under any circumstances is Ryan drops you off with like a lap to go. You do not want to be on the front with a lap to go, because then you're basically solo, right? And all of that hard work the team has done is for nothing if you don't get the timing of the lead out right. But this is so long for lead out. And I think you're right, by the way, Sean. I think I got the laps mixed up. I think we're coming into 1 to go. I think as we cross the finish line here in a couple of seconds, it's going to be 1 to go. But who does this? Like, Ryan's so incredibly strong. A lap and a half lead out is like unheard of, and he is going to continue increasing the speed. Nobody's contesting you anymore, right? We talked about like the speed wasn't fast enough. Well, nobody's contesting you on your left or your right. Ryan is like the one-man band. Were you 198 beats per minute now? You're starting to feel the pressure a little bit. I think the draft isn't quite as good here, and also Ryan's just riding so fast. With 1 lap to go, you must have been kind of paying attention to what was going on behind you and seeing stuff like this happen.
Yeah, I mean, you can see Travis from Tayroon comes over the top here. And I was a little concerned that he was going to have some more of the Tayroon guys on his wheel, but I didn't see them at all. And I trust Ryan, so I immediately just got on Ryan's wheel, and he got on Travis's wheel. And I think coming over the top here ended up helping us out a little bit, because it gave Ryan a little bit of rest to get some more energy for that final straightaway before the chicane.
Yeah, dude's been on the front for a whole lap. I totally agree. So when I first saw that Tayroon rider coming, I was like, oh boy, I was expecting 3 or 4 more of them gonna come over the top of Ryan, because yeah, I mean, Ryan's incredibly strong, like superhuman strength, but 1 versus 3, 1 versus 4 is he's not that strong. But fortunately, Tayroon just kind of helped. It looked like you said, Ryan just got a little bit of a rest there. He was able to catch his breath and recover as best as one can in the draft. And now we're up at 29, 30 miles an hour. We're 500 meters to go. Of course, you want to take this last corner first or second. I usually say take the last corner first, but in this case, it's actually quite a long distance from the finish line. And this is my final corner. Don't forget, guys, I got a score to settle with this corner. And here goes Ryan. I don't know how he's still going fast. This is unbelievable to me how he still has energy. He's going to bring you up to speed and give one final push here. And I really like that you're patient, Sean. But tell me what's going on in your mind right now. Final couple 100 meters.
I had to go a little bit earlier than I wanted to, because Ryan had been on the front for so long and he was fading. But I think he still did a really good job of making it fast through that last corner and dropping me off where I needed to be. And
dude, take down another W. Congratulations. Holy smokes. You guys made it look so easy. It wasn't even like this hard-fought battle. Ryan brought you exactly where you needed to go, and then you just sealed the deal. I can't believe you guys are just like I said earlier, it's as if you guys have been racing together forever. Can't believe the cohesion here. Big things coming 2023. Sean, great having you on, buddy.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Catch you guys in the next one.